Roger Stone here. Every day you wait, your money loses value, but gold and silver don't follow those same rules. American Sovereign Bullion gives you access to a nationwide wholesaler network, helping you secure aggressive pricing on real physical metals. Call 844-272-2428 now to get your free gold and silver guide to learn how to protect your wealth with physical gold and silver, delivered right to your door or with a gold IRA. Visit asbgold.com. That's asbgold.com for your free gold and silver guide today.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi. Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Well, here we are. Here we are on No Excuses. Jake, you know what? I don't like excuses. I believe excuses produce failure. Anyone that fails always has an excuse. If somebody didn't succeed at what they did, they always have a reason who to blame or why, but they never blame themselves. That's why this show is called No Excuses. And today with me, for those that are just joining us, is Jake Novak. Jake Novak is my colleague here at WABC, and I love working with him. I love, sitting with him because he's, as I said before, he's a very smart guy, much smarter than I am.
No.
And he's the kind of guy that you can have a good discussion about. Jake, I want to switch. I want to switch gears. I want to speak about the Met. The Met just had their annual fundraiser gala here in New York City. I heard they raised about $42 million in one night. New Yorkers are focused on the wrong fight. The future of this city will not be saved by squeezing middle-class families and individual taxpayers even harder. The real conversation should be about the enormous wealth being accumulated by tax-advantaged institutions sitting on billions of dollars while public education struggles to survive. If institutions are built on public trust and protected from taxes, then the public has the right to ask for a greater return on that privilege. What are your thoughts on that?
So a couple of things. First of all, you said the sitting on billions of dollars. There's a lot of people out there who think when we talk about billionaires, you start thinking about Smaug the dragon from The Hobbit. Remember that movie and those books where the dragon is sitting on the mountains of gold? Well, real capitalists and business people aren't doing that. They're constantly spending the money. But there is one exception. Endowments. Endowments for universities, for charities, and for museums. That is very much, unfortunately, like the big dragon just sitting on that pile of gold trying to make it bigger and bigger, never thinking about spending it or using it for anything that's good for the people or for even for themselves. They want to see that mound go higher and higher. Thankfully, that's not the billionaire class in America, but that does describe endowments. And you talked about the Met. The Met has like a $5 billion endowment. What the heck does a art museum need an endowment for? I think it's $30 admission to get into the Met. If you have an endowment of over $3 billion, I don't care if you're a university or museum, you shouldn't be charging tuition. You shouldn't be charging admission. Otherwise, we're going to tax your endowment, just like we tax anybody else's wealth fairly in this country.
You know why they keep so much money in their coffers? They keep it so that they can make big dollars. The executives, the executive directors, the president, the CEOs, the CFOs, all these guys are making millions of dollars a year.
And sometimes they funnel those endowment funds into members of the boards, their investment funds. That's how Madoff made so much of a dent into the charitable and institutional life in this city. There were people who were sitting on the board. I had a friend call me in 2005. He's a hedge fund guy. He said, Jake, I'm a hedge fund guy. So I'm not anti-hedge fund, but I'm seeing so many people who are in universities, boards, museum boards, charity boards, who are now investing in hedge funds like mine. That should never happen. I'm too risky. They should be putting it in a CD or whatever, something very solid. And he was very worried about it, and he just didn't know the name of who was behind it. He didn't know this was a Madoff thing. This is exactly, you have no idea how many people get on these boards so they can get their hands on the endowment for their own, maybe their cousin or their friend's investment fund. That should never be allowed.
These people, just so that New Yorkers know the deal here, I'm going to call them out one at a time. The Metropolitan Museum of Art has $5 billion in their coffers. The Museum of Modern Art, approximately $4 billion. American Museum of Natural History, $3 billion. Solomon Guggenheim Museum, $2 billion. And the Whitney Museum for the American Art, $1 billion plus. We're talking about $20 billion that are being held by these museums, yet they have to charge New Yorkers $30 to get in, which is shameful, okay? Then they hold these huge galas where they raise $42 million. Guys, $42 million. I don't care if the rich go there to, strunt their stuff. They go there to show off. They go there to be seen. They go there so that people know, hey, they were at the Met. They spent $100,000 a table. It's shame on these artists that go there, that come from the freaking inner city, that come from the ghetto, make all this freaking money, and never put a dime back in their community.
I did the math, Fernando.
Never.
$42 million would have paid for 1.4 million visitors to the Met. That's got to be several months' worth of visitors to the Met, if not a whole year. That would have paid the admission for all of them. That's where the money should have gone. Free admission to the next 1.4 million people who walk through the doors here, thanks to the Met Gala. That would have been a lovely... I would want to go now. But I don't want to go to the Met Gala now if it's just going to be to put a bigger pile of money under their dragon.
I refuse to go to the Met Gala. I refuse to go. I don't need to give them my money. I prefer to stand outside and pay the entrance fee for 1,000 kids to go in and get a free ride at the Met. That's how you do it. Shame on these museums that have so many billions of dollars and are taking advantage of our tax-paying dollars because they don't pay taxes. And the interest they get on these $5 billion are probably $100 million a year. Maybe more. 8% would be what? About $80 million a year? 8 times 5, 40, $400 million a year?
Quite a bit.
That's how much they're making, guys. $400 million a year in interest. Do you think they can take that money they're making in interest and donate it so that every kid in New York or every adult in New York, anyone that has a New York City driver's license or ID should be able to get into any of these museums for free? I ask our Mayor Mandami, Mayor, visit these museums. Ask them to make a donation for the public education system, for the healthcare system. Ask them to help New York, especially when they're sitting on all these billions of dollars. If they each gave you $1 billion, that would solve the shortfall that you have. Or tax them. Tax them. Don't tax the rich. Don't tax the rich. Don't tax the capitalist. Tax them. Tax those that have all this money. And I'll tell you, next week I'm coming back and I'm going to lay out for all New Yorkers to know what all of the universities are doing around our country. How they are totally screwing the poor. We know that our level of education isn't what it should be. So what should we do? I will have the solution for that problem next week. Okay? Jake, if you're available next week, I will pluck your brains for a little longer. And we may even open up the mics. People ask me to open up the mics. I haven't opened them up yet, but we got to go to another commercial break. We will be right back.
The Marine Toys for Tots foster care program is bringing hope to children who need it most. Every 2 minutes, a child enters foster care, often with only a small bag of belongings. More than 400,000 children face trauma and uncertainty, many before age 8. This May, during Foster Care Awareness Month, Toys for Tots is creating Room for Joy. In 2025, nearly 375,000 children received comfort through toys, books, and essentials, reminding them they are not alone. Donate now and change a child's life.